We just come out of the holiday season. How everybody do with Christmas, New Year's? Everybody do okay? You know, no hangovers? Any hangovers? You know, if you remember the last one we did, we talked about goals, and I know actually there's probably 10 newer faces here than last time. We talked about goals, setting goals. I'm assuming everybody wrote some goals down for the year. Not resolutions, but goals. Everybody raise your hand. Everybody got goals? Who's got goals? Come on. Who has dreams? They have them in their head, just haven't written them down yet. Huh? So I guess that speech I did last time didn't work. Steve, did you ever get it? Because you asked me, did you get it? It's on YouTube. It's on, and thank you to Dave Morley, our videographer here. He puts them all on YouTube because God knows I'm deficient in my technology skills, and he just puts them on YouTube and bang, there they are. So and then I watch them 100 times over to feel good about myself. No, that doesn't happen. So anyway, we just came out of the holiday season, right? The holiday season. And I was thinking about that today, and I thought, you know, wow, it might be a good idea to talk about seasons, right? And the seasons of life, and what goes on in the seasons of life. And it's not so much about, it doesn't have to be just about work, right? So there's the baseball season, the football season, right? There's the winter, summer, spring, fall, right? Those seasons, the weather seasons. There's seasons in our lives where we change jobs. Right? We might go from one job to another. It's the change of season for us. You might go from being a parent of little kids, and then my son's going to college next year. There's going to be a change of season. As a dad, you know, I've raised a child for 18 years, and now he's going to go off to college. It's a change of season. There's the season where, like when our kids went to grade school, and I'm sure some of you had this happen, where we had all the kids, they were friends, and the parents would get together, right? And they're in grade school, and then we move off to high school, and you're not as close anymore. It's just a change of season. So it's not only the change of seasons that I want to talk about, it's about the gratitude that comes with it when you're in the season. When you're in the season. Because what happens when, say you got a best friend, right? You got a best friend and something goes wrong, and you've been friends for 15, 20 years, something goes wrong and you're bitter. You're bitter about it, right? You guys don't talk for a while. So do you stay in the bitterness? Or do you go to the gratitude of the time you had together, right? So I'm going to share a story with you. It was back in 1999, and I hadn't gotten my license yet. I couldn't have been because I got my license in 01. So it was actually 2000. So I hadn't got my license yet, but I had a newspaper business down in Federal Hill, right? And in this business, I was in there every day for 9 years, and I'm watching houses, you know, these dilapidated houses with boarded up windows and door frames, the wood coming out, new doors going in, the formstone coming down, new pointed brick going up, right? So I got interested in real estate, and I got my real estate license. But I had a buddy that he was doing flips with another friend of his. And we were best friends for a long time. He was best man at my wedding, and we were like almost inseparable for a number of years. So him and his partner, I guess they had some falling out, and I'm like, I want to do this, you know. So we got together and said, let's try this. And I would go up and down the streets. I would drive up and down every street in Federal Hill, and I'd write down the addresses of every house that had formstone. Because if it had formstone, it was a prospect, right? And I put this letter together, and I sent this mass mailing out. And I'm the paper boy in the area, and I'm looking to buy a house and live there, which really wasn't authentic. I was looking for a house to flip, you know, and but it was the immaturity of where I was. But I wanted to get in this game because I'm watching it go on, and so it so happened this foreclosure comes up, and I go on a limb and I put my name to this foreclosure, right? We buy the house, and the odds we're going in 50-50, but somebody had to put the house in their name. So buy the house, and all the renovations, everything's 50-50. So mistake we made along the way, we never like put in writing, you're best buds. You think nothing's going to go wrong, right? So we never put in writing what each other's roles were. You know, we didn't do it. You know, it's going to be, he's the construction guy. You know, I was going to get my real estate license. I'm the realtor guy. You know, you handle this, I'll handle that, and everything's going to be merry, right? Both of us had 2 kids, you know, or we were like stay-at-home dads. We like watched our own kids a couple days a week. They were separate days, so it worked out great. I was there 2 days, he was there 2 days, and then we had our 5th day where whatever happened. But anyway, along the way, we just didn't see eye to eye. We weren't communicating well, and maybe he was spending more time down there, and I was doing other things over here, or I was spending days down there, and he wasn't there. We just weren't communicating well, right? So the thing was going south, and I ended up getting a call from HUD because it was a foreclosure and I put my own name. If this is taped, it goes on YouTube. Am I past the 3-year statute of limitations? So, or should I not go there anymore? Huh? Should I not go there? I don't know. Anyway, so I put this thing in my name, and so I get a call from HUD, and we need to see your license, we need to see your gas electric bill, we need to see your phone bill, because when you did that back then, you had to prove you're going to be owner occupant. I got the house because I said I was going to be owner occupant. So it was a 2-bedroom house we were renovating. I hope I'm not putting a nail in my coffin here. This is 20 years ago or 18 years ago. And they tell me to stop if I should. Anyway, so it's kind of funny. So we're renovating the house. I had no intention of living in this house. But Robbie was born, and my wife and Robbie. So we buy this house. It takes about 6 weeks to get the thing ratified. Then we start the renovations. Takes a few more months, And in the process, my wife gets pregnant with our second child. And I get this call from HUD. Well, you're supposed to be living here. So I'm like, how the heck am I going to get out of this deal, right? And I'm like, okay, my wife's pregnant with our second child. It's a 2-bedroom house. I call them up. I get, talk to them. I had to put this in writing. I said, well, when we first bought the house, just my wife, my son, and we were going to buy there and live there. There was no intention of having a second kid. And then my wife gets pregnant. Well, I need another bedroom. The house was too small, so I got to sell it. So I got off the hook. But anyway, but they put a limit. They put a limit on what I could sell the house for. HUD put a limit on what I could sell the house for. So needless to say, we made a little money, right? But the relationship was really bad. It just went south, And so we're buddies, and about 6 weeks go by, and we're not communicating after the deal's done. And my wife's like, you got to talk to him, and his wife's like, you got to talk to him. So our wives are talking to each other, and I'm like, I'm sick about this thing. This guy was my best friend, And finally, we get together. We're planning this thing, we're going to go to lunch, and I'm thinking, okay, we're buddies, we're going to get our stuff out in the air, we're going to clear the air, we're going to drink a beer, we're going to have a buddy hug, and everything's going to be normal. So we meet, we have lunch, and we start talking about the issue, and sure enough, like I said, look, I apologize for my part in it, and I also apologize because I was starting to resent them. I started to have this resentment built up, and that's not healthy either. How can you resent your best friend, your best man in your wedding, right? And so his view of it was, you don't even know what you're sorry for. So I'm like, oh my God, I thought we were gonna have this buddy shake and be done, and it was like, this is getting worse. So we just ate, we agreed to disagree, and we parted ways. And we didn't talk for 6 years. Didn't have a conversation for 6 years, right? And for weeks, for months, I'd wake up every morning and I was sick to my stomach. I was hurt, I was sick. I'm like, God, this is my best friend, and I can't even talk to him anymore, And what happened was, this was going on, and my wife says, you got to do something about this, right? I said, hon, I don't know what to do. And what happened, I went to a Toastmasters meeting. Does everybody know what Toastmasters is? If you don't know what it is, it's a speaking forum. It's called a public speaking forum. It's a training forum where you go to learn to be a better public speaker. But when you're going to be a better speaker, you also become a better listener. It just happens, right? So I went to this meeting one night, and this lady, her name was Karen Bailey, and she was going to be a speaker that night. And her speech was about the seasons of life. So I give her credit for this because she tells a story. She says, when you're in a season of friendship and it ends, we get bitter, and when we lose somebody, we might get mad at them because they're gone, right? Or whatever happens, these separations happen. And she said, instead of being bitter in that moment, and I was bitter because I couldn't believe our friendship had just dissolved after all these years. She says, think about all the good times you had. Think about all the good fortune you had, because people come into our lives in certain times and they go at certain times, right? So we think somebody comes in our lives and they're here forever. The thing is, they're probably not going to be here forever. Like I'm in BNI right now, and by the way, this is BNI White Marsh for the night. We got 8 people here for BNI tonight. So, but there's going to be a time when I leave BNI, and that season's going to be over. There's going to be, when Robbie leaves high school, all the high school parents that we've known, we're going to separate from there for a while. So she emphasized about showing gratitude for the time you're in the season. So I thought about that. It hit me hard that night, but it was like, man, that's an aha for me right there. So what I did, I went home, and the next day I sat down and I got a journal. I do a little bit of journaling, and I wrote my buddy a letter. I wrote him a letter. And I wrote him a letter thanking him for all the years we had together as friends. I thanked him for being the best man at my wedding. I thanked him for all the good times we had together. You know, I thanked him and I thanked him and I wished him well, right? And I never sent the letter. Didn't have to. And the result of that was this weight, this heavy weight just got lifted off my shoulder and off my heart, you know? And I was able to like let that go because all that negative energy, all that pain was holding me back. It was just holding me down. I was starting out every day hurting and pain, you know? So I write this letter, I don't send it, and I'm like, this feels so good. It just felt so good. Now what came of that, as I started to reflect, I'm like, who else am I having issues with, right? Who else am I maybe resenting, right? It's not their fault. So there was about 2 or 3 other people that I wrote letters to in my journal. And it freed me up. It freed me up. So there's a couple pieces here. One is be grateful for the season you're in. Cherish it. Love it, grasp it, embrace it, right? Hold it tight while it's there, because it's going to end one day. It's going to. It's going to end one day. We don't know when, we don't know who, we don't know how. It's just going to end one day. So appreciate and cherish it while it's there. And when it ends, just reminisce and dwell on the good things, dwell on the good times, dwell on the good experiences. Just dwell on that. And you know, if it means writing a personal letter directly, write them a letter directly. If it means writing it, getting off your chest, but celebrate it, you know. And you know, we do that, and life, you just take a different perspective on life. So I'm grateful that you guys are here. I'm grateful that there's a season, and I'm in real estate right now. There's gonna be a day when I leave real estate, and that season's gonna be over. And think in our businesses. So let's flip this into our businesses. So in my business, I have a season of maybe, you know, 30 to 90 days with a client that we're intimate, so to speak. We're every day talking to each other, you know, getting them a house sold or having them finding a house to buy, you know. And then after the settlement, yeah, I stay in touch with the people. We still communicate, but it's not as like deep as it's been for those 30, 60, 90 days. Now, like some of your businesses, you know, you might have some longer term with the insurance or financial planning, but you might not talk to them every day, right? Or every week or every month. I don't know how you guys do it, but that client might leave one day. So if we show gratitude while we're in the season, I think our clients and our business, you know, associates or whatever are going to be more appreciative of us. They're going to be more appreciative of us as we show appreciation for them. And then I think more business comes from that, and you have a more fulfilling life. So again, I'm grateful you guys being here, and thank you, man. Thank you so much. Dave, thanks for doing what you're doing, and you know, go home and reflect and be thankful.